The day was quiet, the kind of quiet that lets you hear the sound of your own breathing. Morning sunlight spilled gently through the window, laying golden stripes across the floor. Daniel sat at his desk, a half-empty cup of coffee cooling beside him. He stared at the blank page in front of him. He had been sitting there for almost an hour. His fingers rested on the keyboard, unmoving. His mind, however, was far from still. Thoughts jumped like restless birds, one flying toward unfinished chores, another toward unpaid bills, another toward the memory of a conversation that didn't go well. It was supposed to be a day for progress. Daniel had planned to write the first chapter of a new book, a dream he had carried for years. But the moment he tried to focus, his mind seemed to run in every direction except the one he wanted. And the more he noticed it, the more frustrated he became. He pushed the chair back and stood, pacing slowly across the small room. Outside, the world moved at its own rhythm, cars passing, a dog barking in the distance, leaves shifting gently in the wind. Daniel felt strangely disconnected from it all, trapped in the noise inside his own head. Later that afternoon, he decided to walk. Not for exercise, but for air. The path near his house wound through a small park, with benches scattered beneath old trees. He took one of the quieter paths, where the city sounds faded and only the rustle of leaves remained. At one bend in the path, Daniel noticed an elderly man sitting on a wooden bench. The man was still, so still that Daniel thought, for a moment, he might be asleep. But as he got closer, he saw the man's eyes were open, focused on a single yellow leaf drifting slowly to the ground. Daniel slowed his steps, unsure why he didn't want to pass too quickly. Something about the man's presence felt anchored, like the world could be falling apart, and he would still be right there, watching a leaf float down. The man turned his head slightly and smiled. "Beautiful day," he said, voice calm and steady. Daniel nodded. "Yes, but I can't seem to enjoy it. My head is too full." The man's smile deepened. "That's the trouble with most of us. We think too much at once, and we lose the moment we're in." He tapped the bench beside him. "Sit. Watch the leaves with me." Daniel hesitated, then sat. For a while, they said nothing. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of pine. Somewhere above, a bird sang a slow, unhurried note. And as Daniel's gaze followed another leaf falling, his breathing began to match its gentle pace. The man spoke again. "You're chasing too many thoughts, my friend. Imagine your mind as a lake. Every thought is a stone dropped in the water. If you keep throwing stones, the surface will always be disturbed. No reflection, no stillness." Daniel listened. "I've been trying to focus," he said quietly. "But the harder I try, the more my mind runs away." "That's because focus isn't about forcing your mind," the man replied. "It's about guiding it. Like holding a candle in a dark room, you don't fight the darkness, you simply let the light rest where you need it." The words felt heavier than they sounded, as if they carried years of quiet practice. They stayed on the bench until the sun dipped lower, painting the edges of the clouds in soft gold. The man told Daniel about his younger years, how he, too, had been restless, always rushing toward the next thing, never truly present. It wasn't until he learned to give his attention fully to one small task, a sip of tea, a step on the path, the sound of wind, that his life began to feel whole again. Before they parted, the man offered a final thought. "When your mind wanders, don't be angry. Gently bring it back. Again and again. Focus grows like a tree, it needs patience to take root." That night, Daniel returned to his desk. The blank page was still there, waiting. This time, he didn't rush to fill it. He sat, feeling the weight of the chair beneath him, noticing the faint hum of the lamp, the rhythm of his breathing. When thoughts about chores or bills rose up, he didn't fight them, he simply let them drift past, like leaves in a stream, returning to the words in front of him. He began typing, slowly at first. One sentence, then another. His hands moved without the tightness of before. The noise in his head softened, replaced by the quiet satisfaction of doing one thing, just one, fully. Minutes turned into hours, and when he finally stopped, the first chapter was complete. It wasn't perfect, but it was alive. And more importantly, so was his focus. In the days that followed, Daniel practiced the small lessons he had learned on the bench. When washing dishes, he simply washed dishes, feeling the warmth of the water, the smooth surface of the plates. When walking, he simply walked, listening to his footsteps, watching how light touched the ground. And when writing, he simply wrote. He discovered that unshakable focus wasn't about having a mind that never wandered. It was about noticing when it wandered, and gently returning it. Again and again. Weeks later, Daniel returned to the park, hoping to see the old man again. The bench was empty, but a small folded note rested on the wooden seat. It read, "When you master your mind, you master your days. When you master your days, you master your life. Keep watching the leaves." Daniel smiled, feeling the wind move softly around him. He sat for a while, watching the branches sway, each leaf catching the light before letting go. And in that moment, he wasn't thinking about the past or the future. He was simply there, present, calm, unshaken. Because sometimes, the greatest power we can have is the power to stay.